Diplomacy and Disarmament for the School of International Studies at Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. Great to have you on, Professor. Now, the BRICS meeting in South Africa might discuss introducing mechanisms which could relieve the dependence on the US dollar, with Brazil even proposing to develop a BRICS currency. What are the challenges to creating a common currency?
I think as your program has outlined, already the ubiquity of dollar, this being so far the most accepted and widely used reserve currency and currency of trade, is going to stay on for some time. But we are also noticing a very clear erosion over a period of time. In last 20 years, the share of dollar in global reserve currencies coming down from 71% to about 47%. So I would say de-dollarization in some sense is an inevitable reality in the making, but it also remains an uphill task. Second very quick point is that BRICS as a grouping is primarily an economic grouping. So way back in 2009 at their Yaketrinberg summit meeting, the first time mention of creating a global reserve currency was proposed. It was not supposed to be anti-dollar at that time, but that constant effort in multiple arrangements, new development bank, currency pool, contingency reserve arrangements, and of course a whole lot of bilateral trading that now happens in BRICS, within the BRICS and of BRICS nations with others. In March only, for example, in China, yuan became the largest currency used for its cross-border trade. Now, in that context, look at Ukraine crisis and the weaponization of currency and financial instruments by United States. And countries of BRICS, China, India, have been always against, in principle, of unilateral sanctions. So now I think this whole new context of avoiding and reducing currency fluctuation risks or bypassing sanctions is pushing BRICS to think of not just having bilateral arrangements of using local currencies, but also creating a global currency starting from BRICS in that sense. There are challenges. The currencies of different economies have different level of strength. Some of these economies are very powerful compared to others. Some of the growth rates are higher. So there are challenges. So it remains an uphill task, but it is an inevitable reality in the making, and BRICS will be the locomotive for that change.
A de-dollarization project would take time, as you said, but what needs to happen for it to be a viable option for more countries?
I think the greatest positive sign right now is, as you mentioned, about 24 countries are excited to join hands with BRICS nations, and that speaks about the credibility of BRICS, how BRICS is looked upon today as an alternative to largely Western-dominated liberal world order and, of course, the financial world order as well, which is where examples of a new development bank, for example, have created a certain aura and certain attraction that many other countries want to join them. So in case BRICS wants to take an initiative piecemeal, step by first using local currencies, largely in their bilateral trade arrangements, and then add on these so many 24 other countries into it, then perhaps later gradually think of creating a global currency. And these things take longer period of time. The average lifetime of one global currency, they believe, is about 100 years, just like dollar had replaced British pound at some stage. So this may be a long haul, but it is a task which I think BRICS has a responsibility to really follow through, and it's a historic opportunity to make sure. Originally, remember 2009, the attempt was to create a diverse, stable and predictable currency, not a currency that a country is willing to use as its instrument to coerce others, but a currency that can really bring stability and predictability in global financial system. And that is where I think BRICS has enormous potential in that sense. And South Africa happening in the context, this coming summit meeting in August happening in the context of US weaponizing these financial instruments will be quite a kickstart for such an initiative, which might take longer period of time, but this will be remembered as an inflection point in moving in that direction.
Thank you very much for your perspectives and insights, Professor Swaras Singh, joining us live there. Thank you so much. Let's now get more for